Your phone battery is not dying because you use it too much. It is dying because the way you charge it every single day is breaking down the lithium cells faster than they were designed to degrade. You plug in overnight, you charge to 100%, you drain to zero, you leave it cooking on a wireless pad, you quick charge 3 times a day, you keep it plugged in while using it for hours, and every one of those habits, the ones that feel normal and harmless, is quietly reducing how many charge cycles your battery has left before it can barely hold power for half a day. That is not planned obsolescence, that is chemistry. And the difference between a battery that lasts 2 years and one that lasts 4 often comes down to nothing more than how you treat it during the thousands of small charging decisions you make without thinking. The battery inside your phone is a lithium-ion cell. It stores energy by moving lithium ions between 2 electrodes through an electrolyte. Every time you charge and discharge, those ions move. Every time they move, tiny amounts of wear happen. The electrodes degrade slightly. The electrolyte breaks down in microscopic amounts. Capacity drops. That process is unavoidable. But the speed of that process is not fixed. Certain charging behaviors accelerate degradation dramatically. Others slow it down and stretch the useful life of the battery far beyond what most people experience. The problem is that almost nobody explains which habits cause the damage and why they matter. Here is the contrast most phone users never see. On one side is the way most people charge. They let the battery drain until the phone warns them it is almost dead. Then they plug in and walk away, leaving it charging overnight, sometimes for 8 or 9 hours, sitting at 100% for most of that time. They use cheap gas station cables, they wireless charge on a pad that heats the phone. They fast charge constantly because it is convenient. By the second year, the battery health report shows 80% or lower. By the third year, the phone dies at 30%. They assume the battery is defective or the phone is too old. But the battery was never given a chance. It was stressed, overcharged, overheated, and cycled incorrectly from day one. On the other side is a user who understands what kills lithium-ion cells and adjusts behavior slightly. They keep the battery between 20 and 80% most of the time. They avoid letting it fully drain unless necessary. They do not leave it plugged in at 100% for hours. They charge at normal speed unless they genuinely need a fast top-up. They avoid charging in hot environments. They use quality cables that do not create resistance heat. By year 2, battery health is still above 90%. By year 3, the phone still lasts a full day easily. Same device, same battery chemistry, completely different outcome because the wear was managed instead of ignored. The biggest myth people believe is that a battery needs to be fully drained and fully charged to stay healthy. That was true for old nickel-cadmium batteries decades ago. It has not been true for lithium-ion cells in over 20 years. Lithium-ion batteries do not have memory effect. They do not need calibration through full cycles. In fact, the opposite is true. Deep discharges and full charges are some of the most stressful events a lithium-ion cell experiences. Every time you drain to zero, you force the battery into a low voltage state that degrades the anode. Every time you charge to 100% and hold it there, you stress the cathode and accelerate electrolyte breakdown. The healthiest range for lithium-ion batteries is partial cycles in the middle range, not extremes at either end. That is why charging overnight is one of the worst habits for long-term battery health, even though it feels like the most convenient. When you plug in at night and leave the phone until morning, it usually hits 100% within 2 or 3 hours. Then it sits there, holding a full charge, sometimes for 5 or 6 more hours. During that time, the battery management system trickle charges to maintain the full state, which keeps voltage high and stress constant. Heat builds, especially if the phone is under a pillow, in a case or on a wireless pad. The combination of high charge state, heat, and time creates the perfect environment for lithium plating, electrolyte decomposition, and capacity loss. You wake up to a full battery, but you also wake up to a battery that aged faster than it needed to. A better approach is charging when you can watch it, or using a timer plug or smart plug to cut power after a set period. Charge before bed while you are awake. Unplug when it hits 80 or 90%. Top it off in the morning if needed. Or charge in the evening and stop earlier. The goal is not perfection. The goal is avoiding the long high charge site that accelerates wear. Even small changes here make a measurable difference over the life of the device. Fast charging is another feature people overuse without understanding the cost. Yes, it is convenient. Yes, modern phones are designed to handle it. But fast charging works by pushing higher current into the battery, which generates more heat and increases internal stress. Occasional fast charging is fine. Constant fast charging wears the battery faster. If you are at home with time, use a standard charger. If you are in a rush, fast charge. But do not default to the highest wattage brick every time just because it came in the box. Slower charging is gentler. Gentler charging lasts longer. Wireless charging has the same problem, but worse. Wireless pads are convenient and clean looking, but they are inefficient. Energy is lost as heat during the transfer. That heat goes into the phone and into the battery. A phone charging wirelessly can run 5 to 10 degrees hotter than the same phone charging with a cable. Heat is one of the top killers of lithium-ion battery longevity. Every degree above room temperature accelerates chemical reactions inside the cell that reduce capacity. If you wireless charge every night in a warm room or on a pad that does not have active cooling, you are baking your battery slowly. It still charges. It still works, but it wears faster than it should. If you prefer wireless charging for the convenience, at least do it in a cool environment. Remove thick cases that trap heat and avoid leaving the phone on the pad for hours after it finishes charging. Or reserve wireless charging for quick top-ups and use wired charging overnight when heat has more time to build. Small decisions like these add up because battery wear is cumulative. You do not see the damage in one charge. You see it after 500 charges, 1,000 charges, 1,500 charges when capacity has dropped, and you wonder why the phone that used to last all day now dies by dinner. Temperature matters even when you are not charging. Lithium-ion batteries hate heat. If you leave your phone in a hot car, on a sunny windowsill, or inside a case while running processor-heavy apps in summer heat, the battery suffers. High temperatures speed up all the aging reactions. They increase internal resistance. They cause the electrolyte to break down faster. Cold is not great either, but cold is usually temporary and reversible. Heat causes permanent damage. If your phone gets hot while charging, while using navigation, while gaming, take a break. Let it cool. Do not stack heat on top of high charge states if you can avoid it. There is also a reason cheap cables and counterfeit chargers hurt battery life. Poor quality cables create resistance. Resistance creates heat. Heat damages batteries. Counterfeit chargers often deliver inconsistent voltage, create electrical noise, or lack proper charging controllers. That inconsistency stresses the battery and the phone's power management system. It is not just about safety, though safety matters too. It is about delivering clean, stable power that does not force the battery to work harder than it should. Use certified cables. Use original or reputable third-party chargers. The few dollars you save on a gas station cable can cost you hundreds in early battery replacement or degraded device performance. Now let's talk about what actually works if your goal is keeping a phone battery healthy for as long as possible. First, avoid charging to 100% every time. If your phone has a battery health or optimized charging feature, turn it on. Many devices now learn your routine and delay the final charge until just before you wake up, which reduces the time spent at full charge. If your phone does not have that, manually unplug around 80 or 90% when possible. You do not need a full charge for most daily use. Partial charging is healthier. Second, avoid deep discharges. Try not to let the battery drop below 20% regularly. If it does occasionally, that is fine. Lithium-ion cells can handle it. But if you make a habit of draining to 5% or 0 daily, you are adding stress with every deep cycle. Plug in earlier. Keep a charging cable at work or in your car. Top off during the day instead of waiting for the low battery warning. Shallow cycles in the mid-range are far easier on the chemistry than repeated deep swings. Third, avoid charging in hot places. If your car is baking in the sun, wait until it cools before plugging in. If your phone is already hot from use, let it cool a few minutes before charging. If your room is warm, charge near a fan or in a cooler spot. Temperature control is one of the most underrated ways to extend battery life because people do not connect the dots between a warm phone and faster aging. Fourth, do not leave your phone plugged in all the time. If you work at a desk and keep your phone plugged in for 8 hours while you use it, you are holding the battery at a high state of charge constantly. That is called float charging, and it wears batteries faster. Charge it, unplug it, use it, charge again later if needed. Let the battery cycle gently instead of sitting static and stressed. Fifth, if you are storing a phone or not using it for weeks, store it at around 50% charge in a cool, dry place. A lithium-ion battery stored fully charged or fully dead will degrade faster than one stored in the middle. This is more relevant for backup devices, old phones, or seasonal use electronics, but it is worth knowing. None of this requires expensive accessories. None of this requires technical skill. It just requires breaking a few ingrained habits that feel normal because everyone does them. Charging overnight feels smart because you wake up ready, but it is one of the biggest silent contributors to early battery death. Fast charging feels modern and efficient, but using it constantly trades long-term health for short-term convenience. Wireless charging feels premium and clean, but it bakes your battery every night if you are not careful. The average smartphone battery is rated for around 500 full charge cycles before it drops to 80% capacity. But how you use those cycles changes everything. If every cycle is a deep discharge to 0, a full charge to 100, and a long sit on the charger in a warm room, you will hit degradation faster. If most cycles are partial, cool, and managed, you stretch the healthy lifespan far beyond the average. Some users get 4 years of strong battery life from the same device. Others are struggling at 18 months. The difference is rarely the battery itself, it is how it was treated from day one. And this is not just about saving money on a battery replacement, though that matters. It is about keeping a device usable for as long as you want to keep it. A phone with a dead battery becomes a desk ornament. A phone with a healthy battery stays a tool. In a world where devices cost more every year and environmental waste keeps growing, getting an extra year or two out of a battery is not a small win. It is exactly the kind of quiet, practical decision that adds up. So stop charging to 100% and letting it sit there all night. Stop draining to zero. Stop fast charging everything. Stop wireless charging in heat. Stop using cheap cables. Start charging in the middle range. Start unplugging earlier. Start letting the phone cool before charging. Start treating the battery like the limited resource it is, because it is limited. Every charge counts. Every heat cycle matters. And the way you charge today determines whether your phone lasts 2 years or 4. If this just changed how you charge, subscribe, like, and comments.